I am in Los Alamos, New Mexico, and in this video we are going to explore the Bradbury Science Museum, which is currently hosting a special exhibit on Oppenheimer. Besides that, this institution has displays on various facets of Los Alamos history regarding the Manhattan Project, as well as other scientific research and developments that have occurred at the Los Alamos National Laboratory over the past 75 years. These Army uniforms were worn at Los Alamos during the war, where both men and women worked on Project Y in extreme secrecy. The first exhibit is about the history of the Manhattan Project, specifically Project Y here in Los Alamos. That is a uranium perfume bottle made in the 19th century. It was being mined back then to add color to glass, but they did not know about the side effects. Project Y and the Manhattan Project as a whole was led by these two men, Dr. J. Robert Oppenheimer and General Leslie Groves. The general coordinated the military front while Oppenheimer, the brilliant theoretical physicist, directed the lab to successfully create an atomic bomb. This is one of the lenses that were issued at the Trinity test to shield viewers' eyes from the brightness of the explosion. These were featured in the film. Here are some samples of trinitites, a new mineral created by that first nuclear explosion as the desert sand was scooped up into a fireball and transformed into a glass. That is a soil sample containing trinitite taken from ground zero on the day of the explosion. After the atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, the War Department began airdropping pamphlets like these to Japanese citizens, warning that they would continue the bombings if they did not surrender. Here's an Army-issued respirator. That still camera was used to photograph implosion experiments at Los Alamos. It is actually armored. This 35mm movie camera was used to film the Trinity test. It was located just 6 miles from ground zero in an observation bunker, and so this camera recorded the first man-made nuclear explosion in history. This is a mock-up of a criticality experiment that several scientists were working with to learn more about critical mass and other properties of radioactive materials in 1946. Louis Slotin got exposed to a fatal dose of radiation while demonstrating with it. There is an authentic Manhattan Project patch, issued after it became public information. This is a model of the Gadget. That was the code name for the first nuclear device that was tested at Trinity. It was an implosion device, the same design as the Fat Man bomb that was detonated over Nagasaki. Here is a detonator of an early implosion device. The electronic detonators surrounding the plutonium core were simultaneously fired, and they made thousands of these over the years. That is the spark gap switch. A tube would send air into the switch to change it from being an insulator to a conductor, allowing current to flow between the electrodes and thus detonating the device. Off to the side in the children's play area is J. Robert Oppenheimer The Exhibit, a temporary display of some awesome artifacts related to Oppenheimer that they just set up for the release of the film. This is Oppenheimer's desk chair. It's a Bank of England style swivel office chair that was used by Dr. Oppenheimer in his office at Los Alamos as director of the laboratory. Just imagine what he was thinking about while sitting in that chair. This is a handwritten note by Oppenheimer from the wartime lab. Notice it has unclassified stamps on it. That is a sketch of Dr. Oppenheimer's lab office floor plan. It also says on it, "Don't let me catch you sneaking out for a Coke either." On the left is a memo regarding implosion initiators from 1945, written by Oppenheimer along with the Fat Man bomb's patent illustration. That is Robert Oppenheimer's personal copy of the Bhagavad Gita. He could read Sanskrit and was quite familiar with ancient Hindu texts. He considered this to be among his favorite books. 2 days before the Trinity test, he recited a stanza from the Lord's Song. Then later on in an interview, he famously recited the line,
"Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
That quote and the book itself make a prominent appearance in the new biopic. It is creatively introduced. But seriously, that is awesome. There is one of Kitty Oppenheimer's calling cards. Here is another case containing various files related to Oppenheimer, as well as the positioning hook that was used to load the gadget, and later the Fat Man. That is Oppenheimer's McKibben card. These were issued to all Los Alamos employees before arrival by Dorothy McKibben, the gatekeeper of Los Alamos, when they checked in at 105 East Palace in Santa Fe. There's a transcript of Oppenheimer's Army Navy E Award acceptance speech. That was an award for excellence in production of war equipment. That is a message that was sent to Dr. Oppenheimer by the Undersecretary of War, Robert Patterson. In 1954, Oppenheimer fell victim to a McCarthyite security hearing, perpetuated by AEC Commissioner Louis Strauss, and as a result, Oppenheimer lost his Q clearance due to his previous relations with communist sympathizers. That book contains the transcripts from the behind closed doors hearing, which was prominently featured in the film. Next to it is a petition of support of Oppenheimer during those hearings, signed by various individuals and scientists. So that was an interesting exhibit on the complicated father of the atomic bomb. Los Alamos National Laboratory continues work in numerous scientific disciplines. The Pajarito Plateau surrounding Los Alamos is geologically fascinating, especially the Valles Caldera, where a lot of obsidian can be found. Here are some Puebloan relics excavated by Los Alamos National Laboratory's archaeologists. They also found this 1864 revolver during a ground survey on lab property. This is a proton accelerator. They have a big one at the lab. They even do research on ribosomes, cell organelles responsible for protein synthesis. That is a 3D printed model of a ribosome. During the Manhattan Project, the scientists used these Martian high-precision calculators, which were the best at the time but could only do 16 operations per second, depending on how fast the operator could punch the numbers. Los Alamos has borne witness to the evolution of supercomputers. Here's a part of an original vacuum tube computer from 1946, which was used for calculating the feasibility of the super, the proposed hydrogen bomb. And that is a piece of Maniac, the lab's first electronic programmable computer from 1952, correlating with the successful tests of the super in the Pacific that year. That is the Maniac's data register unit, which could perform 10,000 operations per second. Here are some more pieces of supercomputers, including a full Cray 1. It was the first commercially successful vectorized computer, meaning it could make multiple calculations simultaneously. The first system was installed here at Los Alamos. That is a Vela satellite. They were used to monitor the Soviets' compliance regarding the nuclear test ban treaty. That is a replica of the little boy bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima, Japan, the first ever nuclear weapon used in war, which detonated when a subcritical uranium projectile was fired at a subcritical uranium target, causing a chain reaction, resulting in about 135,000 casualties. And this is a replica of the Fat Man, a plutonium implosion bomb just like the gadget, that was detonated over Nagasaki 3 days later, resulting in about 64,000 casualties. This is a blast gauge canister, an experiment used at Tinian Island after the bombs were dropped in an attempt to estimate the yield of the little boy, which they found was about 15 kilotons. This is a Jumbino, a scale model of Jumbo, which was a huge confinement vessel that was designed to capture the fissionable material if the Trinity device was a dud. They didn't end up using it. There is a hazmat suit from the lab, which must be really heavy and suffocating. Nearly 1,000 nuclear tests have been conducted underground at the Nevada test site. This is a replica of one of the underground devices. So that was the Bradbury Science Museum, a good display about Los Alamos' role in history and science. I did particularly enjoy seeing Oppie's Bhagavad Gita. The museum does have free admission, so you should definitely visit, and the Oppenheimer exhibit is here until mid-October of 2023. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, then you should check out my other content featuring science museums and all sorts of attractions across the United States and Europe. I do have another video about the history of Los Alamos itself. That is linked in the video description. Please like this video, share it, and subscribe to my channel for more. Thanks for watching!